I've never had a specific genre of film which I tend to gravitate towards. Sure, there are a few directors whose work I anticipate more than others, but that's not a guarantee that I'll enjoy their films. However, there is one common trait between all the films that I've fallen in love with: passion. And Thunder Road has it in bucket loads. Written and directed by Jim Cummings, who also stars in the lead role and created the soundtrack for the film, Thunder Road tells the story of Officer Jim Arno as he mourns the passing of his mother while fighting for custody of his daughter. It's based on the 2016 short film of the same name, which later became the opening segment for the feature, and at the time won Cummings the Short Film Grand Jury Prize at Sundance Film Festival. The film was shot over 14 days in Austin, Texas, and produced on a budget of $200,000 obtained through crowdfunding, which really isn't a lot when creating a feature-length film, but makes it all the more impressive that this group of people managed to pull this off and speaks volumes to their talent and sheer willpower and dedication to the project. Willpower and dedication that were recognized and awarded the South by Southwest Grand Jury Prize. It's rare for me to find a film where the hard work and passion of everyone involved is this palpable, spilling over the screen and gripping me in a way that I can't help but be completely emotionally invested. But when I do find one, I just have this overwhelming need to talk about it. No one in this crew is cutting corners or using the low budget as an excuse for subpar filmmaking. They take risks that a lot of filmmakers would probably consider not worth taking when any mistake can potentially have a massive impact on production. Like long takes. And yes, I'm sure by now everyone's tired of hearing about them. There's been hundreds of videos made on the subject, and we all know the challenges filmmakers face when trying to film them. But I still need to touch on this because they are used to such great effect here. They don't feel gimmicky. Instead, they're often used as a way to make you feel trapped in these uncomfortable scenes that quickly escalate and spiral out of control. And it's all good to go for these when you have millions of dollars at your disposal and the cost of resetting the scene isn't as damning, or when you're marketing your whole film around the gimmick of long takes. But when you're doing this on a low budget with less resources to allow you to reset and reshoot the scene, you need to get it right. And they got it right, and it feels organic while still feeling like an achievement. The cast absolutely nails it. Cummings does an amazing job in the lead role, with a performance that for me felt like it carried the same "I'm so very tired of this" energy that's usually reserved for those who rely on comedy to make sense of the ironic workings of life.
Yeah, I don't care. Dude, I will hum this death across the room so fast.
And while everyone is bringing their A-game, this particular award for Best Actor in a Supporting Role goes to Nick Robinson, who plays Officer Nate Lewis, Jim's best, well, only friend. The dynamic between the two characters is perfect, and Robinson is completely believable as an honest friend who does everything in his power to help, even going as far as using some questionable methods to protect his friend.
Doesn't have that footage anymore?
Nope. Unless he's a scuba diver.
But is just getting more and more fed up with Jim's behavior. So it's impossible for me not to love a film which clearly meant so much to everyone involved. This is not to say, however, that Thunder Road isn't without its flaws. Cummings said in an interview about the process of writing the script, "I just started writing it. I used the Reminders app on my iPhone to write down scene concepts because you can shift their order around. And over a 24-hour period, I moved these ideas around until I thought, yeah, that looks like a screenplay." And you can definitely feel the effect of this in the film, as sometimes scenes can feel a bit disjointed or disconnected, but instances of this are few and far between. It must have been such a hard task to take the comedic and dramatic aspects introduced by the short film and attempt to stretch them over the 90-minute feature, especially for a team that had just worked on creating 6 other short films. But it's still an amazing film, filled with soul.
I opened the door for somebody this morning and I got angry that they didn't say thanks.
As I sat there, watching Thunder Road's first scene of this endearing mess of a man at his mother's funeral, trying to keep it together and honor her memory as best he can, slowly giving in to the grief and pain, making the eulogy about his own flaws, and ultimately humiliating himself quite publicly with a dance routine to the missing tune of her favorite song, as I sat there, witnessing this inescapable 13-minute long take of this poor man's mental breakdown, I knew I was going to love this film. Because that first scene is packed with so much energy, walking the tightrope between tragedy and comedy and somehow finding the perfect balance in a way that I haven't seen a film achieve since maybe this Little Jam. Thunder Road cuts straight to the heart. No one knows how to grieve. No one has cracked that code yet. It's part of our growth as human beings, and we each find the best way to cope with the loss of someone dear. And our lead character, Officer Jim Arnold, is just trying to figure that out himself. However, with the added pressure of fighting for custody of his daughter while trying to keep his own anger management issues in check, things don't really go his way. Jim is incredibly self-absorbed and obsessive over his own flaws, which in turn inevitably leads to awkward social interactions and a failure to connect with those around him. His wife left him, his daughter just outright says she doesn't like spending time with him and resists almost any display of affection, and his captain pretty much begs him to take time off. We get the feeling that everyone except for his friend Nate has given up on him. However, there is an unhealthy lack of self-awareness here because, while Jim does obsess over his own flaws, he fails to understand that the reality is, it's his own series of bad decisions based on poor judgment that end up putting him in his current situation. Starting with his decision to dance at his mother's funeral, a performance which was filmed without his consent and keeps coming back to hurt him. At every crossroad, and every time he comes face to face with the result of his mistakes and flaws, he bursts out in anger, unwilling to understand the root of the issue and instead placing the blame on everyone else. And it's only when those flaws end up costing him the custody of his child, which in turn leads to another violent outburst, ending with him being fired from the police force, that he is left with no other choice but to look inwards for the resolution he needs. He's made to understand that the world is not against him, that he needs to take responsibility for his own actions. For the longest time, he seems to regret not having spent enough time with his mother while he could. He thinks they weren't present enough in each other's lives and wishes he could have cherished the moments they did share. However, after visiting his sister, he realizes that he didn't have it nearly as hard as she did when being raised by a single mother. See, you get the cards that you're dealt, and in the end, Jim realizes he actually got a pretty good hand, but he wasn't thankful enough for it, and that breaks him. The best he can do now is carry that lesson and learn from it. One last bit of trivia about this film. After winning the South by Southwest award, Cummings and his team were approached with offers for the film's global distribution rights. In his own words, "We got very small offers like $25,000 minimum guarantees for global rights. And I thought it was insane. I remember walking down the street in Austin and saying, someday somebody's gonna win one of these big awards and say, fuck it, we're gonna put it out ourselves." And that's basically what they ended up doing. They were awarded $30,000 by Sundance as part of their Creative Distribution Fellowship, and with help from the Sundance team, got to work on self-distributing the film. They showed Thunder Road as part of the Acid program at Cannes, were approached by Paname, a French distributor, that recommended they applied for the Deauville Film Festival, won the Grand Prix at the Deauville Film Festival, and from there quickly saw Thunder Road opening in 67 screens across the country, and recouping the entirety of its budget in 1 week. Thunder Road is just an unbelievable success story. I absolutely love this film and there is so much more I could say about it, but I think I'll leave it to the man himself.
I was in this audience in 2015, I was in the back row and I didn't know, I was looking up at people winning and I was like, maybe that someday might be me. Holy shit, I love everybody here, it's my wonderful team. Go make movies, you can do it yourself, don't listen to anybody that says that you can't. I swear to God you can do it.
Thank you all so much for watching this video. I had a lot of fun researching and putting it together, so I hope you enjoyed it. At the time of me uploading this, Cummings and his team have released a new film, The Wolf of Snow Hollow, which I really recommend. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this video, and if you want to support the channel, the easiest thing to do is to like and subscribe. Also, why not share with other people who might like this sort of thing? I'm currently working on the next one, so stay tuned. Until then, stay safe. See you next time.